Hello, you are watching Inspired Humboldt, where we shed light on local people who uplift our community through creativity, consciousness raising, and holistic healing.
I'm Casey, and this is Patrick, and we're part of A Rising Community, a local nonprofit organization and one of the many Dream Maker projects of the Ink People. We'd like to thank the Ink People for the use of this space, and also the Mars Project, who is filming, editing, and doing all things technical.
So our guest today is Valletta. Valletta, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how you came to Humboldt?
Sure. So my name is Valletta, and I do go by, my pronouns are she and her. It's so pleasure to see y'all both. Thank you so much, Patrick and Casey. I came to Humboldt like everyone who comes to California, at least from my ears that I've heard, is because someone else that I loved wanted to come to Humboldt County. So I guess I'm a statistic because I came out of love and I've still been here because that person is still here too. And I'm very in love with him and I'm not going anywhere. He's my home. So I don't think of Humboldt as home, I think of him as home. And my heart is always going to be a Texan because I'm truly a Texan, and I came here from Austin, Texas. And I did spread some roots here. I had 2 children here. So I have spread some love here. And as a mom, I'm very proud to engage with the youth here in the community, which is what I do. I am affiliated with hcblackmusicnarts Association, as y'all know. And one of my roles is being the youth coordinator, facilitator, and I'm the cultural bearer. So I have the youth coordinator that does a lot of my work for me. And we collaborate together as what you call umoja. And so what that looks like is the unity. Like, what does unity look like? And I really like my work because I can collectively work with y'all, right? And build a Harambe, which is what we've done with our youth, but also have umoja with y'all, which is unity, like in this space. And every space that I go to, I think of as sacred, because these conversations are holistically whole. We connect our spirits together. And so that's my work that I bring here to Humboldt County from my Texans roots.
We've been asking each person, can tell us a little bit about the projects or the classes or the things that you do. And in your case, there are so many. I just read your newsletter, so maybe do you want to pick out a few that you'd like to highlight right now?
Sure. So, gosh, I'm passionate about what I do, y'all. So, hey, that Texan's coming out, y'all. I'm very passionate because the fact that HC is really more of a place for the village to help a village. So our concept is, we villagers want to help the whole village. And we realize that not one person can do because we're one of many. So what that looks like is we have cultural barriers. And cultural barriers, what they do is they hold these components for us to have protective barriers for our youth and our families. So some of these protective barrier classes that you're talking about is like the sisterhood, which I really love that sisterhood because I can connect with someone just like KC, and it doesn't matter about the color of our skin. It's more about our conversations as sisters, the journey that we've been in. And these sisters come in and they're broken. They have intergenerational trauma. They've had so much struggles with organizations, and being what a woman is in our society, it's so hard. So how do we as sisters come together? We hold these conversations. So that's one of my favorite cultural barrier protective classes, is because I'm not the only facilitator. All the women that are in the group who are prayer warriors, they hold it, and we come in collectively and they get to speak. So it's not just my voice, it's voices of many. And then we all collectively were like, aha, we have that moment, and it's healing. Another group that I'm really interested in is the UJIMA, Parent Prayer Support. That's our newer group, and that is linked to the YES program, which is the youth educational program with our sister mentors. So that's something you just read about, I'm sure. What I love about that is that my hopes was doing what's called restorative practice. I'm not sure if y'all heard of that, but restorative practice came from the Mayans. And what we see in schools is they want to do restorative care, but the restorative care comes from a pipeline of like, oh, these students are going to come and they're going to sit in the office and they're going to do the work here, or we're going to push them to the side. And what HCBAMA does is we sit and we collectively take a moment to say, wait, we need to do the work in ourselves as culture bearers or sages. And then also, while we're doing that work, let's do it in a group healing way of individually, group, and with the youth. So we connect everything into a circular view instead of linear. And if you notice, I use my hands. That's part of somatic movement, and it's language. So part of my culture is that we use our hands to express ourselves. So in our restorative practice, we make sure that people identify culturally with who they are. And the only way we can do that is by bringing in these cultural classes that you're asking about. So yeah, the sisterhood is one of my favorites. The other one is that we have the UGMA, parent peer support. We have the brotherhood, which is for little guys like 9 to 12 to 13. And then we have the sister mentor program, which I love because it brings in HSU college students who actually lead this. So people in school are being those mentors to these youth that are in primary, elementary, and college. And it just encourages them to say, hey, you can succeed. You will be able to have that graduation rate that you want, and school retention will rise because we have mentors who understand. And also we understand that COVID-19 is present. So how do we show up? So we've been showing up with these different activities such as what you're talking about. But yeah, we have a lot more. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there was just some of them on, with a little scoop of ice cream on top.
And you just came from an event today.
Yes.
And you sang.
Yes.
And you've had a lot of events in the past that have been really successful, and you are creating so much in this community. Do you want to speak on any of the successes that you've had already, or?
Sure. So I'm not sure if I told you. So culture starvation, this was actually a part of my thesis work. So I think that's when I was meeting you. I was still in the MSW program at Humboldt State, and then I met Patrick a little bit afterwards. So our souls connected, and that's part of my work, is connecting with that heartbeat, right? That conversation in the moment. And I continue doing what's Terry Cross's work. Terry Cross talks about relational worldview. And to have a relational worldview is just not like me and you being relational that, hey, we want to build up this sacred space. But it's about ways of knowing that I know, but I also know I don't know everything. So how do I sit and be discomfort in situations? So I put myself out there. I sat with elders in the community, and I just became a guest. Being a good guest is important. I got to really spend time with the indigenous people here, and I got to spend time with elders from the Black and Brown community who actually live here, who consider this their home. And because of those relations, it opened doors for me to be able to step on a role as a leader, a mentor, and a mother to some of the youth. So with that being said, I am accountable for my actions, and I know that the community holds me accountable for my actions. So when I show up as a leader, as a learner, and not as a teacher. That's why I believe that being a culture educator is really a great deal of weight, because I'm still learning, even though I'm learning the language. So showing up today at Charmaine's event for Josiah Lawson, that is a way of me also learning, being in this space. But then also today, I was at the California Association of School Social Workers, where I spoke for culture starvation in rural areas. I've done the research, I've done the work. Therefore, it doesn't make me cultural competent, it makes me culturally conscious, and that I can bring cultural awareness to the community. So when I speak at these events, I hold lots of events, yes, but I bring my knowledge of my research, and I bring knowledge from the people, the village, to speak and hold at these spaces that you've been at. So some of those spaces have been June 19th, where we had the events there, and then you notice that young, middle age, and up got to speak. and I didn't actually present. I was more like emceeing the event. Also, we just had one recently, which I really enjoyed. The one that we just had was, we had the February was Black History Month, and that was our legacy month, where we held this space created for Black and brown bodies, where they got to do art and music. And I'm just getting chills right now remembering that space, which was on the Eureka Gazebo next to the water, because Black and brown bodies, particularly African ancestries, we relate to water, because Harriet Tubman walked across the water, and that was our set of freedom. So when we are by water, it's very healing and therapeutic. So we hold our events, a lot of them, at the Eureka Gazebo. And this last event was so powerful because cultural appropriation happens in rural areas, y'all. Like, it's real. And it takes away who we are, what we are, and it takes away our identity, and we become lost souls in this space. So this event that we held, the Liberation Celebration, it was beautiful. I mean, we had over 10 speakers who rapped, drummed. We had a Nigerian drummer. Like, we had so much stuff going. But the most one that stands out to me is the young lady who actually, her name is Rachel, and she's now a new dream maker. She just became a new dream maker. I just saw it in the Ink People. She did this dance, and she was doing the African movement, and she was like using her body, and I was like feeling it, and I wanted to do it, and I could not experience that on Zoom. We have been doing all of our events in person, and that moment took me to the motherland, seeing her doing that, and I was like, this is why HC Bama is here. This is why. So that's, yeah.
So I think I saw an article on her in the Ink People News. There's an article right now. Okay.
Yeah.
About her dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So you should all check out the Ink People News. Go ahead, Patrick.
Okay. Can you tell us about some upcoming events maybe you want to talk about, or even present events?
Sure. So we have Oscar. He's our newest culture bearer. Oscar is really cool. He's a Latinx brother who is doing our theater program on Saturdays from 10:30 to 11:30. He's at the Redwood Park and 14th and Union Street, right there at the Arcata Red Park on the Bottoms. And I'm excited about him because he's going to bring a new depth that we have been trying to put in our, programs. We really want to make sure that we have those, maneuvers, and we don't want to be able to take that away. So for him to be able to bring in bilingual culture is really awesome. And I'm excited to see more grants and more work so that we can continue providing this work to other people of color. Our newest one, which y'all just attended, was the comedic yoga. Oh my God. I love that class. Like, seriously, my body's like, oh. So that's my self-care. I used to teach, some yoga, and I will have to tell you, the difference with this yoga instructor and taking yoga in Tahoe and doing other yoga ceremonies is that I really enjoy AJ's voice. When he teaches, it's very soothing, and I've had other yoga masters do their voice, but something about AJ links me back to the place of where comedic yoga started. I love that he has that knowledge, and that people can actually ask him and he can bring it. And that's what's important as a culture bearer or a sage, is that they have those knowledge pieces and they hold it so individuals such as myself can be present and continue to learn. So I'm enjoying that one. One that's coming up is our Kente Dane ceremony, which is really important. Why is it important? Because it's the most one that gets culturally appropriated, I can tell you it's really annoying to see people wearing kente dawnings that they don't even know why they're wearing a kente. And then they walk around it like, oh, it's an ornament. And really, the kente comes back from far, far back with, the kings wearing this beautiful dawning with symbols that symbolizes, culture, and it symbolizes power and symbolizes like integrity, peace. It has different symbols on there. And when you graduate, you want to wear this cloth, this kente cloth, to represent your ancestry, who you are and what you are. So this will be our second year that we'll be able to offer the kente donning ceremony for all the high schools that are graduating this year. We'll be holding that, and we'll also be giving a scholarship away this year. We're really excited about giving some money away. And this year, instead of us putting it on them, we're letting them actually get to pick out whoever they want to actually put the cloth on them. So we're asking people to go ahead and just turn in their applications at the end of the month, and that way we can order the kentes. So that's something that's coming up. We usually do the kente donning ceremony in June, right after, right before or after graduation for high school. And the big thing I want to mention is we're going to do our rites of passage, which y'all probably remember because we borrowed the space from y'all. We're going to be doing that again. People are really excited about doing the rites of passage and the Harambe empowerment classes. So currently right now we're looking for volunteers who want to come and volunteer. A lot of people ask, well, is it just a black and brown, place for people to volunteer? We say no. We love our allies. We love when our allies show up and say, hey, can I volunteer? We've had some allies actually last year who came up, who we consider actually not allies, but family. So when you go onto our website, you'll see those beautiful pictures and you'll be like, wait, I thought this was a black organization. And actually, it's not about black or brown. It's really about a safe, nurturing space for black and brown bodies. And we don't hold membership away from other individuals who want to join. All membership is welcome. So we have actually what's called community classes. So for instance, showing up at Kemetic Yoga. That's a community class. We do have sacred classes for black and brown bodies, like the Rite of Passage and our summer program, because we want those children, which we don't say children, but I'm using the word children because most people identify with it. We use the word youth, and we want those youths to feel safe, to be able to identify and say, oh, Miss V, you look like me. Or Lorenza, you look like me. Therefore, I feel comfortable and I can have a conversation. So we realize that. So that's why me and Lorenza, we slightly differ in color, but we realize that we have the power to say, okay, maybe this isn't, the time for me to speak to this youth, but maybe it is for you. So we let the youth kind of choose who to feel comfortable with. And, it's been really great because we have every shade of brown that comes to, to teach. And those youth that we get, they're indigenous, or they're biracial, and they can just choose and feel comfortable. So yeah, those are our programs.
V, what keeps you inspired and motivated? What is this force that moves through you? It's so powerful. Where does that come from?
I'm going to say I'm spiritually grounded. My spirituality is so important to me. I feel like the Creator really helps me to guide me on my way. I immerse myself with the scriptures, and I'm an earth tender, but you have to have something that is going to fill your cup. And my cup gets filled up when I sing and I praise and I give back to, Mother Earth, or I give praise to God, because I know that He has instilled this peace within me. And that there are women and children and men and families hurting. And the sad thing is that language is really powerful. And people don't even know that the language they use is so harmful. So what keeps me going is the fact that I can be present for the community. And I'm willing to stop what I'm doing to give them hope, to instill that. A lot of people ask me, well, HC says Humboldt County, and I say no. It's healing and compassion. That's where our name came from, HC Black Music and Arts Association, because I want to be able to restore healing and compassion into these broken individuals that come. HC can mean anything. It can mean hurt, that person is hurting from corruptive, individuals. Or HC can mean harm from crime. And I realized that my cup, my joy, my smile that you asked about, it comes from being in the moment helping those individuals. That's really important to me. I just had someone call me and said, "Hey, Miss B, hi, someone said to talk to you because you really know what life is about." And as I sat and, I'm humble, but as I sat with that, I took a deep breath in and I said, "What's going on? Let's talk about it." Okay, how do we restore someone who's broken? We stop. We breathe with them. We hold space. And we're present. That's what's really important.
Just take that in my heart for a minute.
How can people connect with you and stay connected with events, workshops, classes?
Sure. Thank you, Patrick, for asking. So we have what's called info at hcblackmusicnarts.org that you can connect with us there. The N is just the letter N, not A and D. And also you can go on our Facebook, and we have contact on there, so you can just put HC Black Music and Arts Association and the Facebook will be coming up. Our website is coming up as well, and so same thing, www.hcblackmusicnarts.org. And so you can also contact us with that. And a lot of times people get my phone number. I don't shout my phone number out. I'm not going to because then my phone will be blowed up. But we do have the phone number that that people will use, and it just goes straight to our email. So you might as well just contact our email because we're pretty good at getting back to us. There's about 30 volunteers that are around and about that does this work. For anyone interested in volunteering, you can go ahead and do youth coordinator at hcblackmusicnarts.org, and she will contact you if you want to volunteer or if you want to donate money. What we're really looking for is for individuals to donate multicultural books. We just became a National Literacy Foundation. I'm so proud of that. That is probably one of my main works because of the U.S. is the only country that has the anti-literacy laws, which has caused many African Americans to have, dyslexia, ADHD, dysphoria, and all of those issues are really a stem from the society of saying, no, these black folks, we don't want you to have the power of language. So it's really caused a barrier for us to be able to write normally, to do our math, to be able to process, and therefore we have a harder time catching up. So people can also go on the National Literacy Foundation and find us there, and we'll assist you with reading and helping you, get the education you need.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah, it's when you go on the National Literacy Foundation, you look under Glenn Edward Kumba, Kuumba, and that's where we're at on every Saturday morning. We read on the Arcata Farmers Market between 12 to 1. We are out there reading. Yeah, so we've been doing that we started that in August of last year, every Saturday at the Farmers Market, and we're a National Literacy Foundation, and so it's really great to see that work come to fruition because I've been working on that for a while.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask you one last question.
Yeah.
Would you want to talk about any other organizations or individuals that you work with or would like to work with in the future, or anyone that you might want us to interview in the future? Or?
Sure. I enjoy working with Black Humboldt. They are really nice supporters with our work. If we're talking locally, that they are a really great, group of supporters, and they also have a lot invested in the youth, like we do with the Black Student Union representative there for me. They also represent the Black Student Union. Fuente Nueve is one of the schools that we are actually reading at right now, and I think it would be very interesting to talk to maybe Humboldt State's social work program to say how they've been invested with H.C. Bama doing the work with Fuente Nueve and Beth, who's the principal. So I think they would be great examples for, continuing doing this work.
Thank you. I'm so touched by you. I'm so grateful for you being here. I appreciate all that you are and how much you inspire this community and how much you do in this community. If you would like any more information, we'll put the links below the video, and in this case there are a few. So thank you so much for tuning in again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, that Harriet's Walk that we just did in the Redwood Forest, that was really great. I feel like a lot of the ideas that you touched on during that are things that I've kind of had to learn just through experiences that I've had as I've grown. And I really wish that I did have, kind of a mentor to help me, in that safe space, that cultural safe space, to kind of process the experiences that I, had growing up, and to really kind of understand how to work through those, and, peeling back all those layers that we were talking about that we put up as we're having these experiences out in the real world, when we go to school, when we go to the hospital to seek health care, like all of these different things. And so I think it's really valuable that we're, able to help them work through that at a young age and really kind of understand their experiences.
Thank you, Ari. I have another question for you is, do you feel like just being here your first day as a volunteer, right? And it sounds like you took a lot away. Do you think you would want to volunteer again with us?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing what else, this organization has to offer the community, and being a part of it in whatever way I can. I can tell it's going to be lots of good things.
All right. Well, thank you, Ari, for being here today, and we do hope to see you tomorrow, hopefully.
Thanks,
All right. You have a beautiful day.